Escambia County Redevelopment Agency regular meeting August 1st, 2024, 9 o'clock a.m. Please turn cell phone to vibrate, silence, or the off setting. The Board of County Commissioners allows any person to speak regarding an item on the agenda. Speaker is limited to 2 minutes unless otherwise determined by the chairman. Is there proof of publication?
The CRA meeting was properly published in the Escambia County Sun Press on July 25th, 2024.
Thank you. Are there any speakers for public forum?
None to my knowledge, sir.
Thank you. Technical and public service?
All right, well, one recommendation concerning Community Redevelopment Agency meeting minutes, June 6, 2024.
Chair entertain a motion for the adoption of the minute.
Move the adoption.
Please vote. That passes unanimous, 4 in favor. Budget Finance Consent Agenda.
We have 4 items, an A and a B on each one of those items. First one is recommendation concerning residential improvement grant program funding and lien agreements. The second one is recommendation concerning the cancellation of residential rehab grant program liens. The third one is recommendation concerning residential roof program funding and lien agreements. And the fourth one is recommendation concerning commercial improvement grant program funding and lien agreements.
Do we have any speakers, Mr. Chairman?
No, what's the commercial one here that we did for 25,000? We replaced a roof for a commercial for 25,000?
Yes, that's the new one that we had, in the new, the improved part of that grant.
So they pay 50% and we pay 50%, is how that works?
Yes,
So it was a
25 is the limit on it.
So it was a $50,000 roof?
Yes.
How much money do we have left in the roofing program for residential?
I don't have it right here in front of me, but I'll get to you
right.
exactly how much we have left.
Because, I mean, we got allocated starting October 1, but I'm curious to know how much is rolling over from the past
okay.
year.
We'll get it to you.
Because I know we're in a hurricane season, so, I mean, particularly in my CRAs, I would ask that y'all get aggressive in any roofs that we can replace. Let's get them replaced because hurricanes are coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move the Budget and Finance 1, 2, 3, 4, A and B.
We have a motion. Second.
Yeah.
Please vote. That passes 4 unanimous. Thank you. Anything for discussion?
No discussion items.
Thank you, sir. If there's nothing for the good of the order, the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, Board, let's go ahead and move into agenda review. Lumen, you've got the invocation this evening?
Absolutely. Who do we have? Okay. Thank you.
Super.
Carrie Brown.
Fantastic. Commissioner Bergosh, you want to do the pledge?
Absolutely, thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman,
Yeah.
would you like to take a brief update on the weather, proposed tropical weather that may move in?
Are there weather problems? Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Okay. Yeah.
Travis, you want to come up?
I don't keep up with the weather especially well. I didn't realize we had weather problems. Morning. Morning.
We do have a potential for a tropical system.
Microphone.
Sorry about that. We do have a potential for a storm moving into the Gulf. The forecast was putting it over on the Atlantic side. Unfortunately, the steering currents are not going to hold, and it looks like that we will have some tropical development moving into the Gulf. It's still too early to tell where it's going to go, but the message stands the same. You know, we're prepared. We're prepared as a county for it. The EOC is prepared, and we are actually. Jamie's actually putting sand out. Regardless, whoever gets this event, it's going to be quite a rain event. For sure. So one model's showing, the GFS model's showing a very strong storm. The European is not showing that. The European has been more accurate, but both of them are showing that it is going into the Gulf. Sometime, we'll know more by Saturday. We actually will have a National Weather Service call. If that happens, we will be bringing in EOC personnel to hear that brief. and we'll make plans accordingly to that. It's looking like mid next week is when we're looking at potential for something.
Okay, super, thank you. All right, for the proclamations, Wes, do we have, I'm sorry, for items to be added to the agenda, Madam Counsel, do you have anything?
Nothing additional, it was republished.
Okay. Commissioner May? Burgash?
Nope.
Kohler? All right, I do have, I have a couple of discretionary that I believe have been added in the republish. I will have 2 add-ons though related to board, or related to District 5 appointments to boards. And I'll get that, I'll try to get those out this afternoon to y'all. Wes?
Nothing for me.
All right, thank you. All right, so this is who's doing all the proclamations for this evening? Okay, all right, super. Written communication?
Mr. Chairman, that's a pretty basic one, and
Okay.
I'm going to move that we go ahead and do it and remove it. It's a derelict trailer. It's an eyesore. They've been noticed, and anyway, this should be pretty cut and dry.
All right, super. Let's see. Public hearing for MSBU, that's no big deal. Oh, really? Okay, all right. All right, what about the public hearing for mass transit? Wes, do you have anything on that, or Rod? Anything major?
No.
All right. Madam Clerk, anything you want to mention this morning? Thank you. GMR, Horace, I see you kind of making your way forward. Obviously, we can't talk about much this morning. Anything you want to mention specifically?
It's all just straight as an agenda for tonight.
Okay. All right, super. All right. And the final plat stuff is good, Horace? I mean, those are not something we have to wait till tonight? Okay, they're good. All right, Wes, we're to you, buddy.
So 25 items on technical public service consent agenda. We're happy to talk about any item that y'all may want to discuss this morning.
Board.
I'm sorry, go ahead. There's 75 items on the budget finance consent agenda. We need to hold card 2-51 for abstention. We're happy to hold anything this morning for discussion if there's something y'all would like to discuss.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to take a minute to let people who are watching this understand that each of us are given the opportunity to have a thorough review of all this data. It's been published, and I appreciate staff taking time to meet with me and to go through these things. I just don't want it to look like we're, rubber stamping or pencil whipping it. They got to know that we've had this information, we've had the opportunity to study it, and we appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yep.
Wes.
Commissioner May? Yep.
Yeah, thank you. On 22, the change order for the short-term disability, is that just rates went up or did we have claims?
Just rates.
Rates went up midway through?
Pardon?
Midway through?
Yeah.
I mean, before the contract expired, rates went up?
Yep.
Okay.
We have the one discussion item about the USS, United States.
Yeah,
I would envision quite a few speakers this evening.
Yeah, I think maybe that'd be a good discussion to have. I mean, obviously, I support it. I love the idea of having a wreck that size and in shallower water, which would make it more accessible by the average recreational diver as, compared to the Erskine, which, to get to the very bottom of it requires you'd be a very advanced diver. So I know it's an expensive cost. I hope that maybe with the discussion tonight, we can find a way forward that would allow us to extend the current lease that this ship has up in Pennsylvania, give us time to wait till the end of hurricane season to bring her down. But I just think this would be a huge win for Escambia County, the dive community, the fishing community, tourism. In speaking with folks and doing some research, it looks like the diving industry generates about $3 billion a year in the state of Florida. And the estimates are that this would generate $3 million a year in revenue, various revenues, tourism coming in. So, and the great thing about this, if we invest the money to sink it, after that, there's no additional maintenance costs, no labor, no people to maintain it. It just sits there on the bottom, forever, generating tourism. So I'd love to find a way to do it. It's a lot of money, but I think it's something that would be well supported. I know I'm strongly in support of it.
Well,
Thank you.
hypothetically, it's a good idea. I mean, it does come down to a financial issue, and, I was on the planning board when they sunk the Oriskany, and that came to us, and it was going to be this great windfall and such a great idea, and, as many things have not over some period of time, it did not work out like had been envisioned. I don't know how you miscalculate the settling of the weight of a ship, but it was miscalculated tremendously, apparently, because I don't think you have to be a master diver to get to the bottom. I think you have to be a master diver to get anywhere below the top deck.
No, I've spoken to people
It's
that
greater than 60 feet.
Yeah, it's far.
130 feet is the range of a recreation. I know because I've been drinking through fire. No, I'm not, never have, but I've spoken to folks that are, and they say 130 feet, you can get down to the top part of the tower, but to get to the flight deck, yes, you have to be in advance, and to get down to the screws, you have to really be advanced. So this one would be a lot less deep, a lot more shallow.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I could just make a comment. I am a diver. I've dove all over the world. The Oriskany's way too deep. As a Class A diver, you can go about 60 feet, and after that, you can only be down there for minutes. So depending on the depth of where this is, it could be a big asset for the community. But I agree with the cost, and I don't know if you want to do that here or tonight, how the funding would come place, because that's the concern I think I have with it. How would it be funded, and how much would the county have to pay? And maybe that's in here. Robert or Chips, do you have any comments on that? I think that could help me.
Thank you, Commissioner. Tonight, one of the speakers is going to be Keith Miley from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, and he should be promising $3 million from the state of Florida to go towards this project. In addition to that, other possibilities of additional funding include the Restore Pot 1 grant funding, as well as the tourist development tax. As Commissioner Bergosh mentioned, the revenue generated and the tax dollars and the tourism benefits from the project. So we're trying to piece together funding so that absolutely the general fund would not be affected, and we're trying to get as much grant funding as we can.
So Chip, was there a recommendation from the TDC?
We have not spoken to the TDC. One of the discussion topics tonight is for the board to direct us to go ahead and start those conversations if you so wish.
Yeah, I mean, when you mentioned the general fund not being used, I would include the LOST in part of that. I'm not going to support that either, so we're going to have to piece the money together.
Well,
some
see,
other
I mean, I'd rather for the recommendation to come from TDC rather than me sending it and directing it to the TDC. I mean, in theory, if it's a tourism
yeah, if it's being
attraction.
sent to them, just ask them to discuss without a recommendation from us, just asking them to discuss it. I mean, I think that's
fine.
an open-ended enough discussion. I mean, no.
It would just carry more weight with me if it was originated and came from them.
Yeah.
But and that's fine if that's where we're going to go. But I mean, Steve, I will say, and Jeff, I don't know who brought this, you or Mike, whichever one y'all brought it. I mean, there are some capital projects that deal with tourism that, the Fifth Cent's been there for a while, and one of them's in my district in the Bay Center. That and we're only giving $2 million. I mean, not in good spirit. Can I support, this boat, and if we don't have the plan and the allocations and the restrictions for the Bay Center?
Yeah, I mean, well, and it can't impact the facility at Ashton Brossenham either. I mean, that's the two things I, said a couple weeks ago among the conversation coming to me was, no general fund, no LOST, and TDT is fine as long as it's not going to impact those two projects, then.
Right, and so I say, I'm going to discuss. I mean, as it goes to the TDC, I mean, maybe it's bundled for all of these projects because I don't want them to get overwhelmed in looking at this project, looking at Brosenham, looking at. I mean, I know there's some discussion with Michael Rose maybe on things at John R. Jones, which is
Absolutely.
with your district and my district, that becomes a youth sports tourism deal. So, I mean, I would just want the Tourist Development Council to maybe look at all of them, you know, rather than look at them individually, because at some point, we're not going to be able to fund all of them,
Right.
or we're going to overwhelm them. And so that's important to me.
Close. Yeah, can be close.
And, you know, we talk about a lot of things, but I mean, the Bay Center has been talked about as long as I've been on this board, that we're going to do something. I mean, although we've just allocated some money to it, we know that that's kind of, it's not going to get us to where we need to get, so.
When's the next TDC meeting?
Who's on that board?
I'm on the board. We just had one, so I think it'll be next month, probably.
3 weeks, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we don't have another board meeting for a while either, so.
Jeff, you could discuss it at their meeting,
Of
couldn't you?
course.
You could discuss all these things that we're discussing right now.
Absolutely, and I will. And guys, I don't disagree with you. I've said from the get-go, we got to get different funding sources. I'm not going to spend any lost. I'm not going to spend any general fund money. TDT seems like a likely source, but I like the idea of the Restore Act money. I mean, how much could we feasibly get from Restore Act?
But typically, the projects that we've done so far with that Restore Pot 1 have been in the $2 million range, so.
Okay, so $3 million from the state, 2 there. I mean, we're cobbling it together. I think where there's a will, there's a way. I just think it's something that would further diversify our tourism, our ecotourism. Love the idea of it, you know, and if you look to the east of us and the west of us, like Alabama, I mean, they're laying a lot of stuff on the ocean floor. If you look at the printout from one of these depth finds, I mean, there's stuff everywhere. And then Destin, Okaloosa County, they're sinking a lot of vessels. We do have the Oriskany. I know it's a very deep dive, but it still brings tourism here. I mean, a lot of people come here and dive that wreck. I just think this would be another way to do it. If we can find a way to get there, but obviously, like you guys, I'm not gonna jeopardize what we've done at the Bay Center. I'm not gonna jeopardize the project at Brosnahan. But if there's a way to do it, I believe we would find support on the TDC, and we
Yeah.
will bring it. We'll bring it to the next agenda.
And Jeff, whether it's Deep Horizon or whether it's Restore, I mean, I can just tell you, probably our friends, Collier Merrill and David Bear sit on that board.
Sure.
And we've not put forth as many projects as surrounding and neighboring counties.
Exactly.
I mean, we need to be submitting every week,
Yeah.
particularly when we have representation from our community that sits on that board, and they're saying we're not spending enough.
Let me ask about the Triumph Gulf Coast. Is there any way that this could fit within, because they've got money, I mean, I know it's a jobs thing, but, you know, a portion of that, Chips, could we get a Triumph Gulf Coast ask for this project?
Commissioner, we explored that. We had a good meeting with Rick Harper a couple of weeks ago, and he indicated that this would not be eligible for Triumph Gulf Coast.
Okay.
So the only thing that we're eligible for would be Restore Pot 1 and
Restore Pot 1, and Commissioner Bergosh mentioned some of our adjacent counties. We're also in communication with the City of Orange Beach, Baldwin County, Okaloosa County, Santa Rosa County. We do think we can get some contributions from them also.
And there's an educational component to this as well, particularly with the marine biology department at the university. Maybe there's an allocation from the state or a partnership with the marine biology department at the university, Jeff. I mean, I think we should explore all that.
So,
Because I'm
Chips,
sure they-
Chips, did y'all talk about, so, I know y'all met with the Triumph folks either last week or 2 weeks ago, but the education aspect to it that is one of their metrics for Triumph. And, you know, I don't know that it would be, you know, I suspect, especially since the inclination was, you know, not to be supportive of it from, you know, at least at the way the conversation was had then. Even if it's not a large chunk, if we were able to, you know, get $500,000 or something that represents, you know, 10% or less of the project because of the educational component that we could tie in with the university, like Lynn was talking about,
Right.
you know, the education is a metrics. I mean, we're talking to them about a capital project that does include employment, but it also includes education, and the education opens up a little bit more help from them with that. So maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah, good point, because our conversation was really focused on tourism
Right,
and the
right.
return of revenue.
So, and, you know, being careful to some degree about how much to ask for, but some percentage of 10% or less, you know, they just don't want to be funding the majority of these things. But if there's a legitimate education component, I think that makes it a little
We'll
bit more of
follow
a
up with
reasonable
that.
ask.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I have just one quick question on the numbers. I see you have an estimate of $8.6 million. Is that pretty accurate? You feel confident about that?
We did receive one unsolicited proposal from a firm out of Texas that actually assisted with the sinking of the Oriskany, and that was their estimate.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, Chips.
Hi, Commissioners. Just wanted to make the board aware the next TDC meeting is on August the 20th. As far as the TDT reserve, the reserves that are not applicable to the TDC reserve policy, the board has roughly about $3 million available.
All right. And hey, is some of the debt placement conversation going to that meeting on the 20th? Do we know that yet?
So until we have good numbers, we would present it once we have those good numbers. But the estimate as far as debt service is concerned with the two projects and moving forward with that would be somewhere in the ballpark of $6.1 million annually.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, okay, so you don't think that discussion necessarily is going yet? We're not quite ready for it yet, so it probably won't be August. Okay, all right, super. Thank you, Stefan. Any other discussion you want to have this morning before this evening?
If I can just,
Yep.
yeah, I just need to remind, I know Commissioner Burgash has a family obligation this afternoon, so I need to remind the three remaining commissioners that we do have some shade meetings this afternoon starting at 3:30, so it will be important for all three of you to be here.
Will it be as much fun as this morning?
It will not be as much fun as this morning. Allison?
Everyone will be on fantastic, polite behavior.
Allison, thank you for mentioning that. And yes, I want to congratulate all the nursing students from PSC who are graduating today with my daughter at 3 o'clock. It's a great day. Nurses, the next generation.
Jeff, the last painting was my daughter and your daughter.
That's right. She got her LPN tonight. She gets her RN. I'm very, very proud
My
of her.
daughter's now, nurse at Anesthetist, and so she's killing it. So we do have a great nursing program.
We
at
do,
Pensacola State.
and it's fantastic. Thank you.
And I'm sorry that, someone shared that information that shouldn't be shared.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Oh, well.
Eric, Travis, if y'all ain't busy, let's get a couple pictures when this is done.